Hi there, my name is Chris Ringler, and this is the Spooky Chris podcast, episode, maybe 33? Something like that. I think it's 33. That sounds about right. So I am, as I said, Chris Ringler, author, all-around odd guy, living in mid-Michigan. This is my little tiny snippet podcast. I try to keep them bite-sized, because everybody else kind of puts out longer form, and I figured nobody needs that out of me. I talk more than enough. Hopefully you found this through my website, spookychris.com. If you want to find out about me, my random thoughts, see all of my books. I have about 20 books I've published. You can find all that out at Spooky Chris, along with all my podcast archives. I figured this time around I'd talk briefly. We're in award season, and I figured I'd talk about kind of the, award season. Shucks, I always come everything. I'm a movie guy. Like, despite my being a writer, since I was a kid, I was a movie guy. That's just kind of my thing. Is movies were my escape, and I love them. When I was a little guy, like all the kid movies, all the general stuff. I kind of got into scary movies through my mom, and that love affair has kind of gotten bigger over the years, definitely, and it shows. But in the 90s, I was all in on Quentin Tarantino and Scorsese, kind of those mafia mob movies. That was really what drew me, is those. In language and dialogue, all of that. And I am still a huge movie guy. I still love movies. I think last year, 2019, I watched 250 movies. We just got through January, and I probably watched over 20 movies. I'd have to look. I'm not sure how many over, but I'm sure over 20 movies. So, needless to say, I watch a lot of movies. So I love movies, and I love seeing the people I pull for and care about and are interested in and follow winning awards. Saying that, I never really get that, passion about them. Like I say, it's great when, Guillermo del Toro won. That, cheered me up because it meant a lot to him, and it's just like, I love Guillermo del Toro. Maybe same kind of thing if or Carpenter won an Oscar. That's another one for me. When Scorsese won, it was a big deal for me. These are people that I really admire their work and their careers. But I don't get too hung up on it. Just because, much like everything else, there's a rubric, and I don't understand it. I don't vote on it. So it doesn't have as much impact on me. The movies that, a lot of people think are the best, I either don't see or don't necessarily find the same pull to. Joker was great. It's a wonderful movie. One of the best of the year? I guess, maybe. I don't know. I saw movies that I liked a lot better. I thought, and I didn't even love Midsommar, but I thought Ari Aster should have been up for director, and I think that should have been up for cinematography. Just absolutely. I like Midsommar. I just didn't go crazy for it. I thought Adam Sandler should have been nominated for Uncut Gems. It's one of those things. I don't know that it reflects the best always. I think at its best, to me, Oscars and all these awards, it puts a light on movies, certain movies. Movies in general, but certain movies. And you are, going to discover, if you're open mind and stuff, you're going to discover a lot of stuff you wouldn't have seen, wouldn't have heard of. The hope is that films that wouldn't have been seen otherwise, like international films, indie films, get some spotlight and get some pull from that. That's the best thing, and it's great to award people for their work and this and that. It is what it is. It's Hollywood celebrating Hollywood, and all of these critics celebrating and this and that. It's whatever. I just never got that hung up because, horror traditionally isn't awarded a whole lot, and it's fine, no big deal. I think us fans don't really care. We have different priorities, different interests, so we don't get hung up on that stuff. It's great to see. It was great to see, Jordan Peele get some acclaim for Get Out. It's great when you see it happening. Like I say, Del Toro, but you can't expect it. I mean, when you get deep, the big ones that bother me are deeper in, where like I don't know how horror movies and sci-fi movies and fantasy movies are always winning costumes and makeup. Like I don't know how anyone else would. Just because, and I get it, it's hard to create period clothing, but there are warehouses now where they've been doing that for so long that, I mean, it doesn't seem like it should be as hard as it is anymore. Again, maybe I'm crazy. I mean, that's definitely an option. And again, the good thing is that, like, horror films, the horror industry and horror kind of recognizes its own now. Everybody kind of took a cue, and I'm sure there's a sci-fi one, and maybe there's a fantasy one, best this, best that. It's funny because Stephen King, and I mentioned in the last podcast, got a lot of grief because he kind of just said, hey, I vote for what I think's the best. And I think that's an absolutely fair assessment. Because he's bringing this as a voter, and then he had to backpedal, and people were upset with him. And it's like, here's the thing: you should vote for what was best. Now, the problem is the inclusivity thing, but it's not with awarding what's presented. It is you have to go all the way to the back where women, people of color, people of different whatever background, ethnicity, beliefs, sexuality, whatever. The quote-unquote other, they're not getting the opportunities, and that's still a thing. Especially, you're seeing a little more of it. Some more women getting opportunities, and some more people of color, but still not as much as you'd think. They're getting shots on TV and everything in the short form, which is great. That's awesome. Like, opportunities are opportunities. We just need to see them get better opportunities. We need to see them get the big shots. Because folks are right. How can you say that these are all encompassing when not everyone is looked at the same? I'm not going to feel bad Greta Gerwig didn't get nominated because I don't know if Little Women's good or bad. Because I think it's presumptuous to act like it had to be. I mean, there's no movie that has to be nominated for anything. Like, nothing's guaranteed. But I think she needs to be celebrated for creating a great movie, if that's what it is. I think that Jordan Peele needs to be celebrated for creating, and again, I don't love Us, but it's a fascinating and wonderfully made film. Like, I think we need to, and even if it doesn't have to be awards, I don't think this needs to be an award thing. I think we need just to celebrate and lift up everybody that's not a white dude. I don't see a problem with that. I don't know that awards are the way to do it. I think we just kind of gotta. It should be a star, or at least an end goal. Like, you should start seeing Spike Lee winning things. Like, just there's so many people. Like, you can't name names because there's so many, like, creative people, filmmakers that have been just left in the dark. And it is a shame, but it's the industry. And people need to start creating their own shots, as it were. Like, they need to start kind of making their own opportunities and forcing their way in. And there's going to be a point where Hollywood can't ignore them anymore. It's ridiculous that they've ignored them for this long. But welcome to the system that we seem to be stuck in. But yeah, the award season, it's entertaining, it's interesting. Unfortunately, you get a lot of stupid, like, quotes, and I feel bad for celebrities because it seems like you can't really be a real person. You can't have a real opinion because whatever it is going to be wrong to somebody. And there's all these people looking to trick you and to get you to say things that are controversial or like more revealing than you would want. And I mean, you're talking to so many people on so many things. I feel bad for them. It sucks. All of the industries congratulate themselves a heck of a lot. And again, I love movies. I love the celebration. I think it's funny that we put our nose up to the Friday the 13th movies, the movies that pull people into seats and have been there for forever, the popcorn movies, quote unquote, and act as if that's not art, but that anything that happens in the past, has a disability, has like some tragic, real life story is art, like inherently. It's all art. It's just different types. Some's pop art and some is higher art. it's silly that we get caught up on all that stuff. So to me, like, my awards is just, loving what I love the stuff I love. On the other podcast I do with some friends, the Ghoulcast, we talked about our favorite movies, and there's a lot of them I loved last year. I loved Dr. Sleep. On a second viewing, I think Dr. Sleep was my favorite. On second viewing, I really liked Chapter 2. Gosh, there was some great ones. Uncut Gems was really good, but so unnerving and anxiety-inducing. I'm not sure how much I liked it. Jojo Rabbit was fantastic. That's definitely one of the best ones of last year. It's hard to keep track. There's some great ones. There's a lot of great horror. I always laugh when you hear people, it was a down year for horror, but they obsess over the 80s and the 70s. And it's like, you know what? There's a lot of trash in those eras, in the 90s, and there's always trash. But there's a lot of good stuff last year, a lot of really good stuff. So I always kind of, it's interesting because, again, like, the best thing to me about award season is it opens your eyes to things you may not be seeing that you might want to see, and that might speak to you, and that's the best thing about them. For my one little kind of thing I would recommend, there's a movie that came out called Antrum. It is a quote-unquote faux documentary, kind of found footage-ish, but it's a weird horror film that is just hitting physical media. And it's super weird. It is the idea behind it is that this is a discovered film that was quote-unquote lost from the 70s. That was like this weird experimental horror film this person made, that when it was screened, it was kind of cursed screenings, and this is being presented for the first time. And it's great because it has talking heads that are kind of talking about the film, and then they show the film, and then they talk about it afterwards and point out things. And it is a very creepy, weird, unnerving movie, and it's very much in the vein of a 70s kind of low-grade kind of thing that you would have rented on video. It's like, what is this? And Let's Scare Jessica to Death is that kind of a movie where it's very good, but just like, what the heck is this? It unnerves you. But it was so fun. It was a fun discovery. I loved what they did with it. Antrum was one of the highlights of last year's films. So that's it. I don't want to ramble too much. I want to try to do these more regularly too, but whatever movies you loved last year, love them, celebrate them. If you like the Oscars, good for you. If you like BAFTA, whatever, like the Spirit Awards, good for you. Awards do mean something. Like, if I were to get an award, cool. Like, it's great to be noticed. It's great to be applauded. It's great for the recognition. It's just one of those things. Like, I'm not going to live or die on award season and on what is or isn't awarded, because I just think it's, in whatever way it is, it's all rigged in some way, because there's always some kind of agenda, whether good, bad, indifferent. And I remember when the Weinsteins were ruling the world, monster that Harvey is, and his brother, and were, just about buying Oscars, because they were running these huge campaigns. So it was almost like they were trying to kind of influence votes, a lot like politics. So it's interesting. It's all kind of whatever. There's movies out there that we haven't even seen that are probably better than most of the stuff that'll get awarded. So it is what it is. So go watch something cool. That's all I'm saying. Watch something cool and enjoy it. And take care. If you want to know anything more about me or check out any of my books, SpookyChris.com. I am the one and only Spooky Chris. Take care.